I, Garrett Donovan, Alpha of the Moonlit Pack, reject you, Lila Arden, as my mate and Luna of this pack. I heard Garrett's voice reach my ear, and a single tear ran down my left cheek, as it felt like my heart was being ripped out of my chest. Why me? Why am I always on the receiving end of bad things? What have I ever done to deserve this? I wanted to scream and shout at him. I am his Nate, his fated one, and he is rejecting me because I am the runt of the pack. More tears ran down me cheeks, and I saw him smile at my misfortune.
Welcome to Luna's Romance Stories. Read the entire novel in one go. Message or comment to tell me what kind of story you'd like to read. Subscribe to the channel for daily updates. Luna reminds you, the story begins now.
I, Lila Arden, accept. I did not finish my sentence before he held me up by my throat and snarled in my face. His eyes had already changed colors, so I knew his wolf was in charge. You will not reject me, slut. I am your owner, and I tell you what to do and when. He slapped me across the face and threw me on the ground. I struggled to catch my breath, and tears ran down my face freely. I should have been born. I haven't done anything to deserve this at all. Juniper howled in pain in my head, and I doubled over in pain, clutching at my chest. I just want this to be over and done with. Maybe when I die, all this pain will go. I heard mocking laughter above my head and looked up only to see La Fiona. Fiona is the daughter of the current beta, and soon to be Luna. She is everything I am not: beautiful blue eyes with shiny blonde hair, killer body, glowing skin, strong, and extremely wicked. She stood there with her minions looking at me with pity. I couldn't quite place what that emotion in her eye was. She laughed all of a sudden and kicked me in the stomach. She pulled my hair and slapped me, making me fall back on the floor. You actually thought you could be Luna? That Garrett will pick you over me. You are just a worthless bitch that nobody will love. You bring bad luck and misfortune people around you. You are a whore that will die alone because no one wants to be with you. She spat in my face and kicked me in the ribs with her heels. I could not say anything because it would be deemed rude, which would worsen my punishment. Her minions held me up as she slapped me repeatedly and punched me in the stomach. She laughed maniacally as I screamed out in pain, and tears ran down my cheeks. When she was done with me, she threw me on the ground, making me hit Army head in the process. Juniper was quiet in my head. She is always trying to take all of my pains away, but the abuses never stop. We've hoped for 8 years that we'd finally find our mate, our one true love bestowed upon us by the moon goddess, and they will love us unconditionally. That is what mates do. We really hoped we'd be free from this slavery, constant mo-cakery and abuse. But all that has gone down the drain now. All these sufferings started 8 years ago when my parents, the then Alpha and Luna of the Moonlit Pack, died in a rogue incident, and the blame was placed on me. I, as just 10, did not know what really happened. One moment, I was chatting happily with Mom and Dad, and they were gone before I could blink my eye. The pack blamed me and stripped me of my alpha powers. They could not allow a traitor to rule them. Even now, I still don't know what I did wrong, or what went wrong. I just had to bear the brunt of it all because the current alpha, who was my father's beta, said so. I was demoted to an omega, the lowest rank for any wolf, the biggest insult to any wolf of high ranking. I became the slave of the pack at a young age. All the peer nice to me became my enemies, and treated me like trash. Juniper, I am so sorry for putting us through all of this. If only I was neat. So weak. If only I could stand up for us. I know you've always wanted your mate. I am so sorry, Joss, I cried through our mind link. None of this is your fault, Lila. I am sorry for not being able to protect her. If only could shift and take all your pain away. Juniper whimpered in my head, Sadie. Nobody has ever seen Juniper. I've only ever met her once myself, and that was before Mom and Dad passed away. She is a pure white wolf with golden eyes. She is a very pretty wolf, but Mom and Dad said I have to keep her hidden. They never told me why I knew I was special. Mom always called me her special little wolf. Othathere Wolf at age 16, Alphas got theirs at age 14, but I've had juniper since I was 8. They've never seen anyone with a pure white wolf and golden eyes. Everyone thought I didn't have a wolf and looked down on me because of it. We've not been able to shift even if we wanted to because we don't have the energy for that. There is barely enough to eat, and the beatings we get each day are enough to weaken any wolf. I am surprised I still have Juniper with me. I suddenly felt fire in my lower stomach and cried out painfully. People whoopasing, but no one paid me any attention. Nobody cared if I died. They actually wanted dead Juniper howled in pain in my head as the pain ran wildly through every vein in my body. And I knew Garrett was already getting it on with Fiona. This is why he did not allow me to reject him. He knew I was going to be in pain if he was with another woman besides me, and fresh tears started pouring down my cheeks. I weakly stood up and went towards my room in the cold basement. The pain did not stop. It only got worse. I could barely see where I was going and tripped TVW Weiss. I wanted to curl up and die. It felt like lava was running through my veins, and I removed my clothes and lay on the stone bed that I always sleep on. The pain gradually subsided, and Juniper went silent in my head. She was sad, and I was very sad too. I just wanted to be special to someone. I didn't. It want a lot. I knew I had to escape this hellhole somehow. I had been bearing it because of the thought of a mate. But now that there is nothing here for me, I had to leave Garrett and Fiona's coronation as the new Alpha and Luna is tomorrow evening. I have to leave. Juniper and I deserve better, and I need to give Ito her. Hang in there, Juniper. I'll get us out of here as soon as possible, I promise. I said to Juniper and heard her lowly whining in acknowledgement of my words. As I drifted off to sleep, I was startled awake when I felt water on my body. I was still processing where the water could have come from when I felt stinging pain across my cheeks. I opened my eyes and saw Asher, Garrett's best friend, standing over me with a bucket in his hand. He must have dumped the bucket of water on my head. Get up, bitch. He barked at me, making me stand up quickly, almost tripping on my feet. I remembered stripping myself of all my clothes the night before and rushed to cover my body, earning my Sif another slap on the cheek. I fell down, hitting my head or my stone bed. I felt sticky liquid trickling down my forehead and lowly hissed in pain. You think because you are Garrett's mate, you'd be treated differently. You are just a stupid nobody who will never be recognized. Fiona is our Luna. You are just a wretched bitch that will die lonely, he said to me mockingly and kicked me repeatedly. I am sure my body has fresh bruises. The ones that were there are still taking time to heal. I have to get Juniper and me out of here. I'd die at this rate if I refused to do something. You have a lot to do today. We're crowning our new Alpha and Lunda today, and everything has to be fully prepared for that. He barked at me. I nodded my head meekly while looking at the floor. He held my chin roughly and made me look him in the eye. You should be grateful I came to get you and not Garrett. You were trying to seduce whoever came to get you. Nobody will want you. Your body is not even attractive. You'd be good to relieve stress, though, pathetic little bitch, he spoke as he groped me. I felt disgusted and wanted to crawl out of my skin as he touched me. Tears poured down my face, but I dared not talk back or refuse, or I'd be in more trouble. Be out in 5 minutes, bitch, or there will be consequences. Heh, barked at me and left me after slapping me. One more timey, the torture and pain never stop. We all used to be friends, but then they suddenly turned on me. I wish it would stop. I haven't done anything wrong. I knew I had to get up before the punishment got worse. I always get up EA. I must have been so drained from what happened yesterday. I got up, went to the basin at the corner of my room, washed my face, and wore my dirty gown that I packed my once platinum blonde hair that is now dirty brown, due to the dirt that has accumulated in it. I've never enjoyed basic amenities since I became an Omega. No new clothes. I only take my bath once a week, and I barely have enough water to wash my hair or even look remotely good. I only eat leftovers from the pack. Sumps I am not even allowed to eat. This is not a life I'd wish on anyone. Even the poorest in the pack don't live like this. I limped to the kitchen, doing my best to avoid pack members, to avoid any additional punishment or insult that morning. As my luck would have it, I met the current Luna, Garrett's mom, and Fiona in the kitchen, discussing clothes and fashion. Immediately after I entered the pack kitchen, Luna Nora sprung Orm and barked out orders. Fiona looked like she was enjoying my pain as Luna listed out what I was supposed to do before her son's coronation tonight. I nodded my head, and she left the kitchen with Fiona behind her. Not before she accidentally spilled the drink she was having before I came in and broke the glass, leaving it for me to clean. I sighed in relief as they both left without touching me. They must be in a good mood today. I rushed to wash the plates used by the pack members that morning. My stomach grumbled as I thought about food. I had not eaten anything since yesterday afternoon, and I probably won't be getting food until evening. I sighed and carried on with my job. The pack's ballroom was next. I had to make it squeaky clean or get a beating from Luna Nora. I got to work clean and jit and was done by noon. I had to clean the whole pack house too, and could barely stand by the time I was done. I hate my life. I haven't heard from Juniper all day. She was probably still recovering from yesterday night. The wolf feels it most when their partner has sex with another she-wolf. I felt so sad for her, and Thetanly fueled my determination to break free from this cruel pack that had deemed me worthless. Hearing voices, I snapped out of my thoughts and tried to make myself smell an instinct. It was probably time for lunch, and my stomach grumbled again, even though I knew I wouldn't be getting any food each time. I felt him before I saw him, and went still as I felt him move closer to me. I dare not look up at him if I do not want more problems for myself. He lifted my chin and looked into my eyes. He smirked evilly at me, and I felt my ears ringing before I could even process what was going on. He slapped me. I did not even do anything wrong, and he slapped me. I heard people around me laughing mockingly. "You dare to be in the same room as me and look me in the eye, slut? What have I told you about disrespect and the consequences that come with it?" He growled at me angrily and gripped my chin to the point that it started hurting. Tears streamed down my face, and Juniper whimpered loudly in my head. Her mate was hurting her, and she could not even communicate with his wolf side because she had to stay hidden for our safety. She receded to the back of my mind, leaving me to face this monster alone. I guess I am on my own now. I need to teach you a lesson that will permanently put you in your place. I should have taught you sooner. You'd be ready for me tonight. I'd take you however I want, and you'll take it like the whore that you are. Make sure you clean up nice after my coronation tonight. I'll deal with you, and others can have their turn, he said, and loud cheers went off in the room. I could not believe my ears. He was going to refay me. He was going to refay me. They're horrible people, but no one ever dared to take my innocence. I've lost everything. I can't lose the only dignity I have left. I felt disgusted and wanted to puke out my insides. How can anyone be so vile and cruel? He said he wanted to refay me, and everyone cheered him on. Fiona was in the room when he said it, and she had no problems with that. "Just great," he said right after their coronation. "I need to get as far away from here as I can. I can't go on like this. This pack is fucked up, and I refuse to live like this anymore. I'd rather go rogue than live in a pack that has no mercy for those who were once a part of them." They shortly left, and I fell to the ground. I was still in shock at what I saw and heard. He was going to break me completely and then give me to his friends to humiliate. I won't wait for such to happen. I'll protect you, Jun. I'll protect us. I'll not let anybody taint you. I either die running, were my thoughts, as I finally found the strength to leave my position on the floor and made my way to the B-pavement. Tonight. I have to leave tonight. Lila's POV tonight. I have to leave tonight. I sat down on my stone bed, thinking about my life so far. Juniper has been holding on for too long. I can't let her go through this anymore. I used to be almost everyone's favorite in the pack until Mom and Dad passed. I don't know what came over Aunt Nora and Uncle Alec, Garrett's mom and dad. It is like they've been waiting for the opportunity to make me worthless. They used to be very nice until they were not. People who were not in the pack before that incident did not know I was the daughter of the last Alpha and Luna. Everybody in the wolf world thought I was dead, at least. That is what I heard. I can't get raw-fied. I can't get my innocence taken away from me, and by that vile bastard nonetheless. I have to come up with a plan. I don't care if I die running. I have to leave this fucked up pack humiliated. I have to eat this afternoon. I'll need the energy if I am going to be running. That bastard is definitely going to send people after me, so I have to be in my wolf form. Juniper, you there? I mind-linked Jun, and she whimpered in response in my head. I'll need you tonight, girl. I'll need you if I am ever going to make it out alive. I can't let him do this to me, to us. We have fight our way out of this bondage. We waited because we thought we might find love, but it is over now, Jun. We need to RN, I said pleadingly to Juniper. I don't know if I can do it for us, Lila. What if we get killed on sight because of my fur color? What if he catches up to us? What if we don't make it alive? I am so weak, and I've only ever shifted once. I do want to let you down, Lila, Juniper said weakly in my head, and fresh tears ran down my cheeks. We don't deserve any of this. Jun, we need to try. Girl, there is a full moon out tonight. I heard we ginger when there is a full moon. Maybe that will give us strength to propel forward. But we can't stay here tonight. We might find P in another pack. Anything but here, Juniper, I said to her. You are right. We've been taking this for too long. It is time we break fresh start over. We run tonight, Juniper said in my head with new-found determination. Her words made me see rays of hope. I stood up and made my way to the pack kitchen to see if there was any food I could make do with until evening. I needed to eat to at least get enough energy to run. I went to the kitchen, and there were slaves running around cooking up a feast for Fiona and Garrett's coronation. I weigh 05 disappointed, and was about to leave when I spotted Jocelyn. Jocelyn is our elderly woman who used to be our head cook. She is the only one in the pack who doesn't treat me like I am beneath her. She can't be nice to me publicly, though, or she'd be punished. She saw me as I was about to leave, too, and came to meet me in the hallway. She hugged me with tears in her eyes, and I hugged her back, too. She has always been like a grandmother to me. She pulled me towards a dark corner in the hallway, where Seshi broke down in tears. Seeing my state, she has not been to the pack in a while. I guess she quit her job. But why was she back tonight? I saw her mouth moving and tried to listen to her over her thoughts. Heard he rejected you and chose Fiona anyway. I am so sorry. Lilled one. No one deserves to be treated like that by their mate, she whispered with tears running down her cheeks, and I hugged her agony. You look malnourished, child. Do they ever feed you? I am sorry I left without telling you. I had to go see my daughter in another pack. She gave birth to her first child, and I went to see her. She told Isle, looking me over. My stomach chose that moment to grumble again. I looked down in embarrassment. Have you had anything to eat today, child? I shook my head negatively, and she told me she'd be back for me. As she knelt, I tried to make myself small and invisible to anyone passing. I can't take any more beating and assault today. I need to be somewhat okay for me to be able to escape. Jocelyn soon came back with a paper bag in her hand. She gave it to me and hugged me tightly after telling me to live well. It was almost like she knew I was going away. I thanked her and left for the basement again. I could not eat a lot. It was almost like my body was used to not being fed and rejected the food. I sighed as I kept the paper bag. I could not let anyone find it, or Lade be punished. I was waiting for night to fall and the coronation to start while praying to the moon goddess to give me the energy and luck to escape this vile land that has done nothing but cause me pain. I shook in my seat when I heard footsteps coming down the basement. I looked up and saw one of the pack guards and slightly relaxed. They're not as bad as the high-ranking wolves. It is time for the coronation, and Alpha Garrett requires you to be here the ballroom. His deep voice boomed, making me jump in my seat, and I nodded my head. He turned to leave, and I followed after him. I don't want to incur wrath on myself. I followed him to where the coronation was taking place. It looked beautiful and magnificent. Beautiful flowers were used to create an arch in the doorway and were also scattered across the room. People dressed in white. Women in elegant gowns and men in fitted suits were scattered around the room chatting. I stood out in my dirty attire and unkempt appearance. I knew Garrett brought me there to humiliate me and show me that I'd never be his Luna because I was below him. People gave me dirty glances, and some even cursed me out, but I kept my head down the whole time. I stood to a side in the ballroom and made myself snarl. The chatters in the room suddenly quieted down, and I looked up to see Garrett in a black suit that was perfectly tailored to suit him, and Fiona in a blood-red gown with high slit that accentuated all of her curves. She looked so good with her hair in waves that she let down to frame her beautiful face. Her makeup looked minimal, and I could not even deny the fact that she looked stunning together. They looked amazing, and Juniper howled in pain in my head seeing her mate with another she-wolf. They made their way to the stage, and people started clapping, focusing aloft their attention on them. Garrett made eye contact with me and smirked evilly. That gesture made me sick to my stomach because I knew what awaited me if I didn't escape before the coronation ended. Everybody focused their attention on their future rulers, and I took that opportunity to sneak out of the ballroom and out of the pack house. The moon was high up in the sky and shone brightly, almost like the moon goddess was making way for me. I made my way to the end of the pack, avoiding patrols and guards. Securitas not as tight at the pack boundary, so I thanked the moon goddess. Right before I morphed into my wolf, I said the words as I should have said since the moment I knew he wasn't going to choose me. Using my original title, I said those words. I, Lila Arden, the daughter of Alpha Rees and Luna Leora of the Moonlit Pack, accept the rejection of Garrett Donovan, the son of Beta Alec and female Beta Nora, as his mate and chosen or he, I said, and felt a surge of power through me at the same time. I heard a wolf howling in pain and distant. Juniper took over my body, and I was a pure white wolf. I felt a new burst of energy coursing through my veins. Then I ran. I ran with everything in me and never looked back. Then I ran. I ran past the pack boundary, feeling the barely there bond I had with the pack break within me, and I felt free. Juniper howled in happiness as her paws hit the ground, and she charged forward at full speed. I heard distant howling, and knew Garrett had sent his men after me. Juniper charged on wildly, feeling the wind in her fur. I am sure she is not even bothered about the fact that warriors cobbled have been sent after us. She'd never felt such freedom before and was just basking in it. We were on unclaimed lands, which means rogues could be around. I've heard about rogues even though I don't know what they looked like. Memories from when Mom and Dad died seem to have vanished. But I do know rogues are dangerous wolves who have lost their touch with their human sides. They're said to look willed, have red eyes, and will kill anything in their sight. I heard howls get closer and knew we had company. Garrett must be so desperate to have sent men after me. I don't even mean anything to him. He shouldn't have bothered himself with things as trivial as me. Juniper did not falter for once or show any signs of weakness, as she charged on, dodging branches and jumping over trees. No, we had to lose the wolf on our tail. And also, no one cool'd find out about us, so we had to conceal our fur color. We passed muddy water, and Juniper rolled in it, making fur brown and dirty. I knew that was not enough to mask our scent, but it sure helped conceal our color. Jun, we can't get caught now. We need to mask our scent so we can buy Enda time to get us into another pack, I said to her through our mind link. I know, Lila. We have to find a lake or large body of water and drench ourselves in it, or find a pile of waste to mask our scent. I don't know how far we have to go till we reach a pack that we can crash in, she said, not once stopping to catch her breath. We saw a lake ahead and dived into it. It was freezing, and I felt at home though I wasn't in human form. Juniper growled lowly and slowly laid down in the part of the water that wasn't too deep enough to conceal us if anybody passed by. We saw about 5 wolves come into view and stayed as still as we could. Arrayed to the moon goddess that I'd not be discovered. I don't know what will be done to me if I go back, and I never want to find out. I'd rather die out here alone than go back to that evil, fucked up pack. I felt one of the wolves sniff the air around us, and Juniper held her breath. The wolf came up with nothing, and they lurked around for a while before they turned back the way they came. We waited a while before leaving the lake and running into the forest as far as our limbs would take us. We ran into the early morning before stopping by a tree to catch our breath. "Juniper, let me shift back so you can rest a bit before we continue," I said through the mind link. She looked tired, and her limbs were already brown from running all night. "I can't allow you to shift back. Human, we did not bring a change of clothes, and it is so cold out here. We need to stay in this form to conserve energy and body heat," she said, and I had to agree with her. We did not think this through. We just wanted to escape without knowing where to go or how to go about it. I did not know our pack was so far from other packs, as I've never been outside that pack for 8 years. Juniper saw a rabbit and killed it. She ate part of it and left the remaining beside her as we drifted off to sleep. The sun was high up by this time. "I hope we won't be captured in our sleep," was my thought, as Juniper rested her head on her forelimbs and closed her eyes. We woke up when the sun had almost set and began running again. We needed to find a pack that would take us in. We did not escape Garrett just to live in this place forever. We continued this way for 2 days, sleeping when the sun was up and running when the sun went down. We have been in wolf form since we left the moonlit pack. Our speed has reduced drastically, and our fur is already brown from sleeping on the forest floor. On the 3rd day, rain started falling, and we could not stop to sleep. Jay was about to lay down under a big shaded tree when a smell filled our nose. It smelled like a dead rat, but 10 times worse. Juniper rolled in the muddy floor to really conceal our fur color. Seeing as we had company through the heavy rain, we saw glowing red eyes, Rogue. The wolf looked wild and feral, and the rotten smell came from it despite the heavy rainfall. It snarled at us, and our survival instincts kicked in, making us growl bab. The wolf eyed us hungrily, and we snapped at him, daring him to come closer. He growled loudly and charged at us, trying to get a hold of our neck. She instinctively moved to the side and the rogue wolf missed. This seemed to annoy him, and he made a move to snap at our left hind limb. We did not see that coming, and he bit a chunk off our hind limb. We howled in pain and limped to the side when the wolf tried to attack us again. We instinctively slashed at his chest, and he fell backward. We started circling each other, and the rogue moved to bite the left side of our stomach. He grabbed us unexpectedly and bit off a bit of our stomach, making blood stain our fur. Suddenly, a surge of electricity ran through us, and the rogue was thrown ack, hitting his back on a tree. He charged towards us again, and we moved to the right, biting into his neck when he came close. No, he struggled to release himself, but we held him down, making blood spill everywhere, including our fur. We dropped him to the ground and stood on top of him, clawing at him blindly, making him howl out in pain. Right before his life ended, his eyes shone with something I could not quite place. I think it war, and I wondered what he saw in our eyes that made him afraid. Once he was dead, I ran. I ran until I came across a claimed territory, eye to the land, and heard howls around me. They thought I was a rogue. I ran into the middle of the pack and felt myself surround big wolves. They snarled at me, and I snarled back. I am not going to get treated like H again. I am not going to be imprisoned again. I was about to attack one of them when I felt a needle in my side. I got dizzy and fell to the ground, changing into my human form, naked. Take her to the dungeon and await the Alpha's order, I heard as I was picked off the ground by rough hands. I thought I had escaped this. I was going to really die now, were my thoughts as I lost consciousness. I sat down dejectedly in the back of the car as Tate, one of the pack warriors I took with me, drove back to the pack. Another search for my mate in other packs proved futile. I have been doing this for 2 years now, and all have been abortive. What I want the most in this life is my mate. Someone I can love and cherish and call my own. Someone who will rule my kingdom alongside me and bear my pups when the time is right. My own queen. I see my parents in love every day, and I wish I could have that for myself. My dad loves my mom so much, and the same goes for her too. They have the kind of love I wish I'd always get. But I haven't found my mate. I have been going around packs under the guise of checking up on them, But my motive is to find my mate. A mate has been chosen for me, but I don't want to live like that. I will be crowned the Aang soon, and I need my Luna beside me to get that title. This is my last trip to find my mate. I've gone to every pack, and still nothing. My heart felt heavy, and I cursed out the moon goddess as I made my way back to the pack. A mate has been chosen for me. In case I do not find my mate, she'd be crowned Alpha Queen alongside me. I did not like that idea, but Dad said it was for my own good, to prevent Alphas from rebelling against me. I guess I have to put my people before my desires. We got to the pack house, and I was welcomed by my mom, at 43. She looked nothing over 25. Damn werewolf gene. I took after her facially but had my dad's physique. She came running out of our home and peered into the car excitedly. Her face dropped in sadness when she met it empty. I shook my head negatively as she looked at me, and she came me to hug me. She held my hand as she led me into the house. We met my dad in the kitchen area with a newspaper in his hand, and he looked up as we entered. He saw that I came back empty-handed and came to hug me sympathetically. My parents have always supported me in whatever I did. I'm not even mad at them for choosing a mate for me. They're only doing what is best for me. I excused myself and went into my room. Dorian sighed sadly in my head, and I felt so sad for him. I want my mate too. But it is harder for him as my wolf side to be without his true mate. We tried our best, Dorian. Maybe the moon goddess doesn't have a partner for us, or maybe she is dead. We've searched every pack and come up with nothing. I am the next Alpha King. I need to consider my people before my own needs now, I said to him through our mind link. And he receded to the back of my mind. Not even replying to me, I was about to undress when I felt my best friend and next be Beta. Nico, trying to reach me through the pack's mind linky, put down my barrier and heard his voice. Yo man, you are back already. Did you find her? He asked me excitedly. Everyone has been waiting for their next Luna since Vertical Bar turned 14, so I get why he is so excited. Nah, bro, I did not find her. I guess the moon goddess doesn't have a mate for me. I laughed dryly through the mind link and heard him sigh. I am so sorry, man. Actually, I mind-linked you to tell you we found a rogue on Pack lands earlier today. Declan told the men to take her to the dungeon. We were waiting for you to come back to decide what to do with her, Nico said through the mind link. Rogue? A female rogue? We haven't had any rogue attacks since forever? What were the patrol wolves doing when she came into the Pack lands? Did she hurt anybody? And why is she still alive, Nico? I said with anger. We haven't had a rogue attack for 8 years now. The last one took something precious from me, and I hate rogues with passion. They're vile, dirty creatures that do not deserve any sympathy from Anyon. Man, she looked so weak and afraid. It was like she was running from something. She wasn't feral, she was afraid, and she turned back into her human form once she was tranquilized. Besides, it was early in the morning, and the men on patrol were few. Nico tried to make me see reason, but I wasn't having any of it. I don't care, Nico. Rogues are dangerous creatures and should be killed in sight. I don't want her near my pack members. Kill her, Nico, I said angrily through the mind link and put up my barrier. As I removed my shirt, I heard Felicity, my chosen mate, come in. Felicity is Beauty Eye and loved by everyone, but she is not my mate. Dorian and I do not feel anything for her. We want a mate. You are back, Archer. I heard you did not find your mate, she whispered in his ear in what she thought was sexy, and I felt disgusted. Get your hands off me and get out of my room, Felicity. I growled out in my alpha voice, and she scurried out of my room. I did not want to be mated with someone other than my mate. I want to feel everything Mom and Dad have. I was done bathing and about to get some shut. When Mom came barging into my room looking angry. Uh-oh, I don't know what I did, but Mom can be pretty scary when she is mad. I did not train you to be like this, Archer Landon Wolf, Mom said angrily, and I knew I was in trouble because she used my full name. I did not do anything, Mom. I just got back from my trip, and I came to Moom. I haven't done anything, I promise. I looked at her, thinking about what I could have done wrong. Was it because E told Felicity to get out? Mom doesn't even like her like that. She just agreed because she is the best option for me. That is exactly what you did. You did not do anything. A rogue was caught in the pack lands after 8 years, and you were not going to find out what brought her into our land. You are the next Alpba King Archer. You can't take things lightly like this. What if there are more of them, and she is a spy? What if we can get more information out of her? And you gave orders that she should be killed. Mom exclaimed angrily and marched out of my room. I sighed and mind-linked Nico that I'll be at the dungeon in half an hour, and nothing must be done to the rogue. I dressed up and went downstairs to get something to eat. I'll need the energy to deal with that motherfucking intruder. I left the pack house and felt Dorian get restless in my head. He is never restless, and that got me worried. What is it, buddy? Is something wrong? I asked through our mind link. I don't know. I have the feeling that something is about to happen out the dungeon, but I can't place what it is going to be, Dorian replied. I quickened my pace to the dungeon. I hope I don't shed blood today. I am unstoppable once I start. Another reason I need my mate, fuck you, moon goddess. I woke up to stinging pain in my side, stomach, and left leg. Shit. My wounds from when that rogue attacked me haven't fully healed. I sat up and saw that I was in chains, silver chains. It was bound to my legs and hands, but I did not feel any pain. Silver is harmful to werewolves. I have seen people in my former pack get hurt when they touch pure silver. I guess that doesn't apply to me. Lucky me. I could not feel Juniper in my head and started panicking. She has always been quiet, but right now she just seems to be missing from my subconscious. Juniper. Are you there, girl? Juniper, please give me a response. Something. Anything. To confirm that you are still with me. I called out in panic in my head, my eyes starting to tear up. I can't lose Juniper. She is the only one I have left in this cruel world. She is a part of me I don't ever want to lose. The silence echoed louder than any scream I could muster. My chest tightened. A vice of fear squeezing the air from my lungs. The dungeon walls, cold and damp stone etched with the scars of countless prisoners, seemed to close in around me. Flickering torchlight from a single sconce high on the wall cast long, jagged shadows that danced like mocking specters. The air reeked of mildew, rust, and something metallic blood. Perhaps from those who hadn't been as fortunate as me. I tugged at the chains, experimentally. The links clinking softly against the iron ring bolted to the floor. No burn, no sizzle of flesh against silver. It was as if the metal was just ordinary iron to my skin. A small mercy in this hell, but it did nothing to ease the void where Juniper's voice should be. We'd been through everything together. The beatings, the starvation, the rejection that still burned like a fresh wound in my soul. Without her, I was truly alone. A hollow shell in a body that had already endured too much. Tears spilled over, hot and unbidden, tracing salty paths down my dirt, streaked cheeks. I wiped them away with the back of my hand, only to smear more grime across my face. My body ached from the run, from the fight with that rogue whose red eyes still haunted the edges of my vision. The bite on my leg throbbed with every heartbeat. A dull reminder that freedom had come at a cost. And now, this captured, chained, and wolf, less in a strange pack's dungeon. Why now, Jun? Why leave me when I need you most? I whispered aloud, my voice cracking like brittle glass. The words bounced off the walls, unanswered. Memories flooded in unbidden. The first time I'd felt her presence at 8 years old, a warm spark in the darkness after my parents' death. Mom's voice, soft and reassuring. You are special, my little wolf. Keep her safe. But safe from what? The pack's cruelty, Garrett's rejection, or something deeper, something even I didn't understand. Footsteps echoed from the corridor beyond the heavy iron door, boots on stone, deliberate and unhurried. My heart lurched into my throat. Instinct screamed at me to curl into a ball, to make myself small and invisible, as I'd done 1,000 times in the moonlit pack's basement. But there was no basement here. This was enemy territory, and hiding wouldn't save me. The door creaked open on rusted hinges, flooding the cell with a sliver of brighter light from the hallway torches. A figure filled the doorway, tall and broad, shouldered, silhouetted against the glow. He stepped inside, and the air seemed to thicken, charged with an authority that made my skin prickle, even chained and battered. I could sense the power radiating from him. Alpha power, raw and unyielding. His eyes, a piercing green that caught the torchlight like emeralds locked onto mine. He was handsome in a way that bordered on intimidating, sharp jawline shadowed with stubble, dark hair tousled as if he'd run his hands through it in frustration, and a fitted black shirt that hugged muscles honed by battles I could only imagine. But there was something else in his gaze. Curiosity, perhaps, laced with a wariness that mirrored my own fear. "You are awake," he said, his voice deep and resonant, carrying the weight of command without needing to raise in volume. He didn't approach too closely, stopping just beyond the chain's reach, as if assessing a wild animal rather than a broken girl. I shrank back against the wall, my pulse thundering in my ears. Who are you? What do you want from me?" My words came out weaker than I'd intended, laced with the tremor of exhaustion and terror. He tilted his head slightly, studying me with an intensity that made me feel exposed, stripped bare beyond the tattered remnants of my clothes. "I am Archer Wolf, Alpha of the Silver Crest Pack. And you are the rogue who trespassed on my lands, killed one of our border threats, and collapsed in the middle of my territory like you were running from the devil himself." Silver Crest, the name tugged at a vague memory. Something from Pack history's mom had whispered to me as a child. Tales of powerful kingdoms beyond the moonlit borders. But that life felt like a dream now, shattered and distant. I am not a rogue," I stammered, though the word tasted bitter on my tongue. What else was I, if not cast out? Alone, surviving by tooth and claw. I was escaping, please. I mean no harm, just let me go, I won't come back. His lips quirked in a half-smile that didn't reach his eyes. Escaping what? You smelled of fear and blood, but not the feral rot of a true rogue. And those wounds. He gestured vaguely toward my leg and stomach, where the bite still oozed faintly beneath hasty bandages someone must have applied while I was unconscious. That wasn't a clean fight. You took down a rogue twice your size, from what my warriors reported. How? I hesitated, the truth bubbling up like acid, telling him about Garrett, about the rejection and the horrors that drove me into the wilds. It would make me vulnerable, paint me as weak. But lying, my eyes darted to the chains, the unyielding stone. What did I have left to lose? My old pack. They rejected me. My mate. He was supposed to protect me, but the words choked off, a sob threatening to escape. I clamped my mouth shut, staring at the floor. Archer's expression shifted, the wariness softening into something unreadable. Pity, anger. He crouched down to my level, elbows resting on his knees, bringing his face closer but still respecting the space. Rejected you, as in your fated mate? The question hung heavy, laced with a disgust that wasn't directed at me. That is, barbaric, even for wolves. A bitter laugh escaped me, surprising us both. Barbaric. That is putting it mildly. They beat me, starved me, called me a traitor, because my parents died in a rogue attack when I was 10. Blamed me for it all. I was their Luna once, in line to be, and now. Now, I am nothing. The confession poured out, a dam breaking after years of silence. Juniper would have howled in solidarity, but her absence gnawed at me, sharpening the pain. He was quiet for a long moment, his green eyes searching mine as if peering into my soul. Then, slowly, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small key. The chains fell away with a clatter, the silver links pooling at my feet like discarded serpents. I rubbed my wrists, expecting the burn that never came, and stared at him in bewilderment. "You are not burning from the silver," he observed, his brow furrowing. "That is unusual. Most wolves would be screaming by now." "I don't know why," I admitted. Flexing my fingers' freedom, even partial, felt foreign after so long in bonds, literal and figurative. It has always been like that. "And my wolf, Juniper, she is gone. I can't feel her, please. If you know anything..." Before I could finish, a jolt shot through me, electric and primal, like lightning forking through my veins. My breath hitched, and across from me, Archer stiffened, his eyes widening as his own wolf surged to the surface. The air hummed with it, an invisible thread snapping taut between us, pulling us inexorably closer. "Mate," he growled, the word a rumble from deep in his chest. Dorian, his wolf, must have been roaring inside him. Just as Juniper's faint whisper echoed in my mind for the first time since the dart hit me. "Fela, he is ours." Asterisk, the world tilted. This couldn't be real. After Garrett, after the pain of rejection, the moon goddess had cursed me with another mate. One who held my fate in his hands, in the heart of a pack that saw me as an intruder. Archer rose slowly, his hand extended, palm up in a gesture of peace. "You are my mate," he said, wonder threading through the alpha steel in his voice. "The one I've been searching for across every pack for 2 years, and you've been running straight to me." I recoiled, even as the bond tugged at me, warm and insistent, a counterpoint to the fear clawing at my throat. "Number this can't. I can't. They'll find me. Garrett will send warriors. He'll drag me back," and panic crested. Visions of Fiona's heels in my ribs, Garrett's snarl as he promised to break me. "Shh," Archer murmured, his voice a soothing balm despite the storm in his eyes. He didn't touch me, honoring the invisible wall of my trauma, but his presence alone eased the ache where Juniper had been. "No one's taking you anywhere. Not while I am breathing. Tell me everything, from the beginning, and I'll burn that old pack to the ground if I have to." As the words tumbled out, tales of betrayal, abuse, the hidden white wolf that marked me as special. Archer listened, his face a mask of controlled fury. Hours passed in that dim cell, the torch flickering low as I bared my soul. Juniper stirred faintly, her golden eyes gleaming in my mind's eye, whispering encouragements. For the first time in years, hope flickered, fragile as a candle flame. But outside, shadows gathered, whispers of rogues on the borders, rumors of a vengeful alpha from the moonlit pack. Freedom was a double-edged sword, and mine had only just begun to cut. Archer's POV, the scent hit me like a freight train the moment I stepped into the dungeon corridor. Wild jasmine and fresh rain mingled with the copper tang of blood and the earthy musk of fear. It wrapped around my senses, yanking Dorian to the forefront with a howl that reverberated through my skull. "Faymate, ours now." Asterisk, I'd scented her faintly when Nico mentioned the rogue, but dismissed it as adrenaline from the hunt. Now, with the iron door swinging open, there was no denying it. She was huddled in the corner, chains glinting mockingly against her pale skin, her platinum hair matted with dirt and leaves from the forest run. Bruises bloomed like dark flowers across her arms and throat. And those wounds, gaping bites that should have healed by now on any wolf, told a story of desperation and survival. She was beautiful, even in ruin. Delicate features sharpened by hardship, blue eyes wide with terror that twisted my gut. How had the moon goddess hidden her from me for so long? 2 years of fruitless searches, packs combed under pretenses of diplomacy, all leading to this moment in a fucking dungeon. When the bond snapped into place, it was like coming home after a lifetime adrift. Dorian paced restlessly, urging me to claim, to protect. But I held back. She'd been through hell. I could see it in the way she flinched at my voice, the instinctive curl of her body, rejection, abuse. A mate who should have cherished her turning monster. My fists clenched at my sides, nails biting into palms. I'd find him, that Garrett bastard, and make him beg for death. As she spoke, halting at first, then in a rush of anguish, I pieced together the nightmare. Daughter of an alpha, stripped of her birthright, enslaved as an omega. A white wolf, hidden for reasons unspoken, immune to silver like some ancient legend come to life, and Juniper, her wolf, stirred only now, drawn by the bond. By the time she finished, the torch had burned to a stub, and rage simmered in my blood like molten silver. "Lila," I said, testing her name on my tongue, savoring it. "You are safe here. Silver Crest doesn't tolerate what yours did. We'll heal you, train you, make you strong again." She searched my face, doubt warring with the pull of the mate bond. "Why, you don't know me. What if I am the traitor?" they said. "Because you are mine," I replied simply, the truth anchoring us both. "And because I know a fighter when I see one. You survived that rogue, crossed unclaimed lands alone. That is not weakness. That is steel." I offered my hand again, and this time she took it, her fingers trembling in mine, small, calloused from labor, but warm alive. The contact sent sparks racing up my arm, the bond thrumming like a live wire. Gently, I helped her to her feet, steadying her as her wounded leg buckled. "Nico," I mind-linked my beta, voice tight. "Felice all orders on the prisoner. She is my mate. Double patrols. Moonlit pack might come sniffing, and get the healers ready." Asterisk his shock rippled through the link, followed by fierce loyalty. "Fay on it, Alpha, congrats. Man, about damn time." Asterisk as we ascended the dungeon stairs into the cool night air, stars wheeling overhead. Lila leaned on me, her steps faltering but determined. The pack house loomed ahead, a bastion of timber and stone under the full moon's glow. Whispers would spread by dawn. The rogue was the Luna, but challenges loomed, her hidden power, the ghosts of her past, and whatever storm Garrett brewed. For now, though, she was here, mine to protect, and I'd tear the world apart to keep her that way. The healer's quarters were a sanctuary of herbs and soft lamplight, far from the dungeon's chill. Elder Moira, our pack's wise woman with silver, streaked hair and eyes like polished oak, clucked her tongue as she examined Lila's wounds. "Bites from a feral rogue, nasty business. But you'll mend, child. The moon goddess favors the resilient." Lila lay on the cot tense under the blankets, her eyes flicking to me every few seconds as if expecting betrayal. I stayed by the door, arms crossed, a silent sentinel. Moira applied salves that smelled of lavender and yarrow, stitching the deeper gashes with thread as fine as spider silk. "This silver immunity," Moira mused aloud. "It is rare, like the old tales of moon wolves, blessed by Selene herself, guardians against darkness." Moon wolf, the term stirred something in Lila's expression, recognition perhaps, or fear. She didn't speak, but Juniper's presence grew stronger in the bond, a soft rumble of curiosity. As Moira worked, I caught snippets of pack chatter through the mind link. Warriors on alert, elders debating the implications of a rogue Luna. Nico coordinated supplies, his excitement palpable. Even Felicity, my chosen, former chosen, sent a curt mind link of resignation. "Faye, I'll step aside." For the pack, asterisk relief washed through me. She'd never been more than duty. Hours later, with Lila bandaged and drowsing under healing drafts, I stepped onto the balcony overlooking the pack lands. Silver Crest sprawled below, cabins nestled in evergreen forests, the river glinting like a vein of moonlight, distant mountains standing sentinel. My kingdom, soon to be ours. Dorian whined softly. "Faye, she is scared. Needs time." Asterisk I know, I murmured to the night. "But time's what Garrett's stealing. We need to fortify, reach out to allies, and uncover what makes her so special before it draws worse than rogues." A howl rose from the borders. Patrol signaling all clear for tonight. Peace. But dawn would bring truths, and with them the first threads of war. Lila stirred in her sleep, murmuring Juniper's name. I returned to her side, brushing a lock of hair from her forehead. "Rest, mate. I've got you." In her dreams, perhaps, the shadows receded. In mine, they gathered, red-eyed and snarling. The next morning dawned crisp, mist curling through the pines like ghostly fingers. Lila woke to sunlight filtering through gauzy curtains, the scent of fresh bread and chamomile tea wafting from a tray on the side table. For a heartbeat, confusion reigned, soft linens instead of stone, warmth instead of chains. Then memory crashed in, and she bolted upright, wincing as pain lanced through her leg. "Easy," Archer's voice came from the armchair across the room, where he sat with a steaming mug, eyes heavy, lidded from a night of vigilance. "You are in the healer's wing. No chains, no dungeon, just breakfast and a promise." She clutched the blanket to her chest, scanning the room. Wooden beams overhead, tapestries depicting moonlit hunts on the walls, a window framing views of snow-capped peaks. It was luxury compared to the moonlit basement, a world away. This is real. You are not going to reject you, chain you again." He set the mug down, leaning forward, elbows on knees, the mate bond hummed between them, a gentle current easing her frayed nerves. "I meant what I said last night. You are my Luna, Lila, if you'll have the pack, and me." The word Fey Luna Fey hit like a stone in still water, ripples of old wounds surfacing. Fiona's laughter, Garrett's sneer, but Archer's gaze held no malice, only a quiet strength that invited trust. Juniper stirred fully now, her voice a soft yip in Lila's mind. "Fey he is good, Lila feel it." "Home." Asterisk tentatively, Lila reached for the tea, sipping the floral warmth. It soothed her raw throat, and hunger gnawed insistently. Real food, not scraps. I don't know how to be a Luna. Back there, I was nothing." And Juniper, she is white, furred, golden-eyed. "They said it was a curse, that I had to hide her. My parents warned me, but they died before explaining why." Archer nodded, absorbing her words like a strategist mapping enemy terrain. "White wolves are legends here too, harbingers of change, tied to the moon goddess directly. If that is you, it explains the silver, and the power surge my warriors felt when you took down that rogue." He paused, choosing words carefully. "We'll figure it out together. But first, you need strength. Eat, then meet the pack." Meet the pack, dread coiled in her belly, more eyes judging, more whispers of Fey traitor, runt, rogue Fey, but refusing meant running again. And the bond Archer's steady presence anchored her. She picked at the bread, flaky and golden, each bite a small rebellion against starvation's ghost. By midday, dressed in borrowed clothes, a soft green tunic and pants that hung loose on her frame, Lila stepped into the great hall. Archer's hand rested lightly on her lower back, a touch that grounded without caging. The hall buzzed with activity. Wolves of all ages gathered around long oak tables, laden with roasted meats, cheeses, and fruits. Conversations hushed as they entered, heads turning, sense sharpening with curiosity and caution. Nico, the beta, approached first tall and lanky with a mop of brown curls and a grin that disarmed. "Luna Lila," he said, bowing his head with genuine warmth. "Welcome home. Heard you gave that rogue what for, badass." A ripple of murmurs followed, some approving nods, others wary glances. An elder woman with a cane, likely Moira, smiled from her seat, raising a cup in toast, but not all were welcoming. A cluster of warriors near the hearth eyed her with narrowed eyes, one muttering, "Rogue scent still clings." Archer's growl was low, vibrating through the bond. "Enough. She is under my protection, and yours as your future Luna. Any challenge to her is to me." Silence fell, heavy but obedient. Power flexed, subtle yet absolute. Lila's cheeks burned, but she lifted her chin, channeling Juniper's quiet ferocity. "I know I smell like the wilds. I ran for my life, but I am here to stay, if you'll let me prove it." The hall erupted in a mix of cheers and thoughtful hums. Nico clapped her shoulder gently. "That is the spirit. Come, eat with us. Tell us about that white wolf of yours. Legends say they're unstoppable, As the meal progressed, stories flowed. Lila sharing sanitized tales of her escape, the pack recounting border skirmishes. Laughter bubbled, tentative at first, then freer. Archer watched her bloom, pride swelling in his chest, but beneath the camaraderie, tension simmered. Scouts reported increased rogue activity near moonlit borders, and a messenger arrived mid-feast, a sealed missive from Garrett Donovan, Alpha of Moonlit. Archer broke the wax seal privately, his face darkening as he read. He is claiming you as escaped property, demands your return. Or war. Lila's fork clattered to the plate, blood draining from her face. He can't. The bond's broken. I accepted the rejection. Alphas like him don't care about bonds, Archer said, crumpling the parchment. They care about control, but he won't touch you. Silver Crest stands with its Luna. That night, as stars pricked the velvet sky, Lila stood on the balcony with Archer, the bond weaving them closer. Thank you, she whispered, leaning into his side. His arm encircled her waist, warm and sure. Don't thank me yet, he replied, pressing a kiss to her temple. War's coming, but with you, with Juniper, we'll win it. In the distance, howls rose. Not of threat, but unity. Silver Crest's wolves, calling their Luna home. But in the shadows, red eyes watched, and Garrett's rage brewed like a storm on the horizon. The days blurred into a rhythm of healing and discovery. Mornings brought training sessions in the clearing behind the pack house, where Nico and a handful of warriors taught Lila basic combat forms. Her body protested at first, muscles atrophied from years of labor rather than fight. But Juniper lent her strength, the white wolf's instincts surfacing in fluid dodges and precise strikes. You are a natural, Nico grunted, after she disarmed him with a clever twist, sweat beading on his brow. That surge you mentioned, felt it again, like lightning in your veins. Lila wiped her face with a towel, exhilaration buzzing through her. For the first time, power felt like a gift, not a curse to hide. Archer observed from the sidelines, arms crossed, a proud smile tugging at his lips. Dorian rumbled approval in his mind. Fairs is fierce. Perfect. Asterisk afternoons were for pack integration, helping Moira in the herb gardens, learning the Silver Crest histories from dusty tomes in the library. The elders warmed to her, sharing legends of moonwolves, ancient guardians who could command the elements, heal with a touch, or shatter silver like glass. Your immunity, Moira explained one day, grinding roots into paste. It is a mark of Celine's favor, but it draws envy. Hide it no longer, child, embrace it. Evenings belonged to Archer. They'd walk the borders under the moon's watchful eye, hands brushing, conversations deepening. He spoke of his searches, the weight of kingship looming with his coronation in months. I didn't want a chosen mate, he confessed one night by the river, skipping stones across the water. Felicity was politics. You are fate. Lila traced patterns in the dirt with a stick, vulnerability cracking her voice. Garrett was fate too. Once, it twisted him. What if, he cupped her face, thumb brushing her cheek. I am not him, and you are not that scared girl anymore. You are my equal, Lila, my Luna. Their first kiss happened there, under a canopy of stars. Soft, tentative, then deepening as the bond ignited, fire and comfort, promise and passion. Juniper yipped joyfully, Dorian howling in tandem. It was a seal, a vow whispered on the wind. But peace fractured on the 7th day. Scouts dragged in a moonlit spy, a young warrior with Garrett's mark, reeking of deceit under interrogation, he spilled. Alpha Garrett rallies allies, says the White Wolf's a weapon stolen from him. He'll raise Silver Crest to reclaim her. Archer's fury was a tempest, but he channeled it into action, fortifying defenses, sending envoys to neutral packs, training drills intensifying. Lila, no longer sidelined, joined the strategies. Her insights from Moonlit is weaknesses proving invaluable. That night, as thunder rumbled overhead, Lila confronted her reflection in the mirror. Hair washed clean to platinum waves, eyes bright with resolve. Juniper gleamed beside her, golden gaze fierce. "We're ready," the wolf said. Outside, Archer waited, cloak billowing in the wind. For war, for everything. The War Council convened at dawn in the strategy room, a circular chamber carved into the mountainside with maps etched into the stone floor and walls lined with ancient weapons. The air was thick with the scent of pine smoke from the central fire pit and the sharp tang of determination. My inner circle gathered. Nico, ever the steadfast beta, with his quick wit masking a tactical mind. Moira, the healer, whose counsel often tipped the scales of fate, and a dozen Gamma warriors, their faces scarred from past skirmishes, eyes hard but loyal. Lila sat to my right, her presence a steady flame amid the storm clouds gathering on the horizon. 7 days since the dungeon, and she'd transformed. Not just in body, her wounds fading to faint lines under Moira's care, but in spirit. The hollow-eyed runaway had given way to a woman with fire in her veins, Juniper's golden essence shining through. Yet doubt lingered in the bond, a shadow she couldn't quite shake. "We've confirmed the spy's words," Nico reported, unrolling a parchment map marked with red ink for moonlit territories. "Garrett's mustering forces, 200 strong, including rogues he has bribed with promises of land. They're probing our eastern borders, testing for weaknesses. Envoys to the Riverbend and Ironfang packs report neutrality, but whispers say Garrett's gold is loosening tongues." Murmurs rippled through the room. Ironfang's alpha owed me a blood debt from a decade-old alliance. But Garrett was cunning, his pack's silver mines funding a web of influence. I leaned forward, tracing the river line with a finger. "We hold the high ground here at Wolf's Pass. Funnel them into the narrows, ambush with archers and flankers. Nico, double the patrols. Rotate in fresh blood every 4 hours." Nods of agreement, but eyes flicked to Lila. She felt it too. The unspoken question, Feywatt of the White Wolf. Asterisk legends painted her kind as omens, bringers of victory or harbingers of doom. I shot a warning glance. She'd earned her seat through merit, not myth. Lila cleared her throat, her voice steady despite the flush creeping up her neck. "Moonlit is warriors favor brute force, Garrett style. They charge headlong, no subtlety. Use that faint weakness at the southern trail. Draw them in, then hit with traps. I know their formations. Fiona leads the she, wolves in a wedge, Garrett the vanguard." The room stilled, respect dawning in widened eyes. Moira smiled faintly, pride evident. "Spoken like a true Luna," she said, as the council dispersed. Assigning duties, scouts to the passes, smiths to the forges. I pulled Lila aside into the alcove overlooking the valley. Dawn's light gilded the treetops, but storm clouds bruised the sky to the east. "You handled that like you'd been born to it," I said, brushing my knuckles along her jaw. She leaned into the touch, but her blue eyes clouded. Born to it, in moonlit, councils were for betters. I was the one scrubbing the floors after. A wry smile tugged her lips. "Juniper's pushing me. She says we're more than they ever let us be." Fedorian agrees. Asterisk my wolf rumbled in my head, his massive form pacing virtually beside Juniper's lithe, white shape in the bond's shared space. The two wolves had taken to hunting together in our minds. Playful chases through imagined forests that strengthened the link between all 4 of us. It was intoxicating, this quadruple harmony, but it amplified threats too. Garrett's distant rage echoed like thunder in my dreams. "We'll prove it," I promised, sealing it with a kiss that lingered, tasting of resolve and unspoken fears. "Today, you train with the Gammas, show them what that lightning does." Her training session in the clearing was a revelation, clad in leather armor tailored overnight by the seamstresses. Lila moved like liquid silver, graceful dodges giving way to explosive counters. When a burly Gamma, Torin, lunged with a training blade, she sidestepped, and that surge hit, a crackle of energy arcing from her palm, slamming him back 10 feet without contact. He hit the dirt laughing, more awe than anger. "Bloody hells, Luna, that is no fair," Torin gasped, rubbing his chest. The other warriors cheered, circling her with renewed vigor by midday. Sweat, slicked and grinning, she'd earned bruises and brotherhood in equal measure. Nico clapped her on the back as they broke for water. Garrett's got no idea what is coming. A Luna who fights like a storm goddess. We're unstoppable. But unstoppable didn't mean unthreatened. That afternoon, as Lila rested in our chambers, now shared, her few belongings unpacked beside mine, a frantic mind link from the borders shattered the calm. Feyrogue pack, 20 strong, breaching the eastern fence. I shifted mid-stride, Dorian exploding from my skin in a blur of midnight fur and muscle. Howls split the air as I raced through the underbrush, warriors falling in behind. The rogues were a ragged horde, feral eyes glowing crimson, coats mangy and scarred. Clearly Garrett's disposable vanguard, meant to soften us before the main assault. We met them in a frenzy of claws and fangs. Dorian tore through two in a whirlwind of savagery, blood matting his pelt, while Nico's lithe gray form harried their flanks. But they were relentless, driven by whatever dark pact bound them. One leaped for my throat, jaws foaming, until a white bolt streaked past, Juniper in full glory. Lila had followed, shifting seamlessly, her pure white coat gleaming like moonlight even in daylight. She was smaller than Dorian, but ferocity made her a titan. She slammed into the rogue, golden eyes blazing, and unleashed that power. A pulse of ethereal light that fried the air, hurling the beast into a tree with a sickening crack. The rogues faltered, whining, their red eyes widening in primal terror. Feymoon Wolf, *1 snarled through the chaos, but fear undercut the rage. Juniper didn't hesitate, ripping through their ranks with surgical precision. Slash, dodge, surge. Dorian guarded her flank, their synergy a dance of destruction. Within minutes, the incursion crumbled, survivors scattering into the woods like smoke. Panting, we shifted back, Lila collapsing against a fallen log, her shift reversing to leave her in the spare clothes stashed nearby. Blood streaked her arms, not hers, and triumph lit her face, dimmed only by exhaustion. "They're testing us," she said, voice hoarse. Garrett's message, return or burn. I knelt beside her, cleaning a shallow gash on her shoulder with a cloth from my pack. "Let him come. We'll send his head back in a box." The words were bravado, but the bond thrummed with truth. With her, I felt invincible. Word of the Moonwolf's wrath spread like wildfire through Silver Crest that evening. Feasts turned to toasts, songs composed on the spot recounting Juniper's glory. Even the skeptics, those warriors who'd eyed her warily, now sought her counsel, sharing ale and stories by the fire pits. Felicity approached during the revelry, her golden hair catching the flames, expression schooled to neutrality. "Luna," she said, dipping her head, "I wish you strength. The pack needs you, more than they ever needed me." Lila regarded her evenly, no trace of the old insecurity. "Thank you, Felicity. Your grace means more than you know. Perhaps we can be allies, not rivals." Felicity's smile was genuine, a bridge built over old chasms. As she walked away, Nico sidled up, mug in hand. "See, you are weaving magic already? But heads up, envoys from Riverbend arrive tomorrow. They'll want a show of unity, and they've heard the legends." The next day dawned under a tentative sun, the Riverbend delegation crossing the bridge amid fanfare. Alpha Ellis, a grizzled veteran with a salt and pepper beard, and his daughter, Serena, a sharp-eyed she-wolf with ambitions in her stride. They brought gifts, fine wines and forged blades, but their eyes lingered on Lila, whispers of white wolf trailing like smoke. The welcome feast was a delicate dance, toasts to alliance, subtle probes about borders and Garrett's threats. Ellis pulled me aside mid-meal, his voice gravelly. "Wolf, your Luna's no rumor, eh? Moonwolf in the flesh. Legends say they call the tides of war, but Garrett's spinning tales. She is his stolen prize, a traitor who cursed her own bloodline." Rage flared, but I banked it. Legends also say they shatter curses. Lila's proven her loyalty in blood. Join us, Ellis, or stand aside. But don't buy moonlit lies. He chuckled, clapping my shoulder. Bold as your father. We'll parley, but I want a demonstration. Let the girl show her power. Lila, overhearing via the bond, stiffened but nodded when I relayed it. The demonstration came at dusk in the arena, a mock battle against 3 of our gammas. She shifted under the watching eyes, Juniper's form eliciting gasps. The fight was poetry and violence, evades like wind, strikes like thunder. Each surge of light a controlled burst that disarmed without maiming. Ellis's eyes gleamed. By the goddess, she is the real deal. Riverbend stands with silver crest. Cheers erupted, alliances forged in firelight. But as night fell, Lila retreated to our chambers, the weight of eyes pressing on her. They see a weapon, not me, she murmured, curling into my side. I held her close, heart aching. They'll see you. I see you. Fierce, kind, unbreakable. Our bodies entwined, passion a balm against the encroaching dark. In her arms I found not just a mate, but a queen. Yet dawn brought ill tidings. A captured rogue, not Garrett's hire, but a lone wanderer with tales of a greater threat. Moonlit is not alone. He rasped under duress. The Shadow Claws, feral clans from the north. Join them. They seek the White Wolf's pelt as a trophy. War's not skirmish, it is annihilation. The council reconvened, maps redrawn with black marks for Shadow Claw's territories. Lila's face paled, but her voice rang clear. Then we strike first, hit their supply lines, sow discord. Plans solidified, but unrest brewed within. Whispers of doubt, Feya's the moon wolf a blessing or doom asterisk, reached my ears. That night, as Lila slept, I stood vigil, Dorian growling at shadows. War whispered closer, but so did destiny. The White Wolf would rise, or consume us all. Lila's POV, the alliance with Riverbend, felt like a victory wrapped in thorns. Ellis's pledge bolstered our numbers. 50 seasoned warriors. Their river honed strategies complementing our mountain defenses. But his gaze on me lingered too long, measuring as if I were a blade to be tested for temper. Serena, his daughter, was kinder, pulling me aside during the post. Demonstration mingle to share a flask of spiced mead. Ignore the stairs, she said, her laugh like river rapids. My father's seen too many battles. He trusts power over pedigree. You are the spark we need. Her words warmed, but the arena's echoes haunted me. The gasps, the awe, tinged fear. Juniper preened in my mind, her white tail swishing. They fear what they don't understand. But we do. We're storm and moon. Lila, asterisk storm and moon. The phrase stuck as I navigated the days following. A mantra against the growing storm. Training intensified. Dawn spars with Nico, who taught me to channel the surges without exhaustion. Like harnessing river flow rather than dam, breaking flood. Afternoons brought diplomacy lessons from Moira. How to read a room, command respect with a glance rather than growl. Lunas lead hearts as much as hands, she advised. Her wrinkled fingers deftly braiding my hair with moonflower vines, a traditional adornment for pack queens. Evenings were sanctuary. Archer's touch, mapping my skin like uncharted lands, his whispers chasing away ghosts. Our bond deepened, intimacy a bridge over trauma's chasm. You are my anchor, he murmured one night, bodies tangled in sheets scented of cedar and sweat. Without you, I'd be adrift. But anchors could drag too. Garrett's shadow loomed, his spies like ticks burrowing into our lands. We rooted out 3 in a week. 2 moonlit infiltrators, 1 shadow claw scout with tattoos like writhing serpents. Interrogations yielded fragments. Garrett obsessed, Fiona goading him with visions of my stolen throne. He'll raise the mountains to ash, one confessed before Nico's blade silenced him. The captured rogue's warning proved prescient. Scouts reported Shadow Claw's movements. Hordes of feral wolves, more beast than man, sweeping south with moonlit banners. Their alpha, a brute named Victor with fur black as pitch and eyes like coals, sought my pelt for some ritual, believing white wolf hide granted immortality under the blood moon. Fear gnawed, but so did resolve. In the library's candlelit hush, I pored over tomes. Moira unearthed. Faith, the chronicles of Celine's chosen fae. Faded illustrations depicted moon wolves commanding auroras, shattering armies with light lances. Your power, the text read, is born of rejection's pain, rebirth in Luna's light. But beware, it consumes the unworthy. Unworthy, the word echoed Garrett's sneers, but Archer's faith drowned them. You are worthy of worlds, he said, finding me there at midnight, his arms enveloping from behind. Preparations accelerated. Forges rang with blade. Song archers drilled volleys that darkened the sky. Healers stalked salves and runes. Riverbend's contingent arrived. Tents sprouting like mushrooms along the riverbanks. Serena integrating seamlessly with our she-wolves, sharing tales of aquatic hunts. Yet cracks appeared. During a joint drill, Torin, my sparring partner, faltered against a Riverbend warrior, his mind link laced with doubt. Fey what, if the legends are curse? Last white wolf brought plague. Asterisk the words stung, rippling through the ranks. That night, unrest boiled over. A brawl in the taverns, fists flying over rogue Luna slurs. Archer quelled it with alpha command, but the damage lingered. In our chambers, Lila confronted the mirror, Juniper's golden eyes reflecting back. We can't lead divided, I said to my reflection. Then unite them, Juniper urged. Fey, show your heart, not just power. Asterisk the next dawn, I called an assembly in the central meadow. The pack gathered under a sky heavy with impending rain. Archer stood beside me, hand in mine, a statement. Silver crest, I began, voice amplified by Juniper's rumble. I've been rogue slave, outcast, I no doubt, for I carried it too. But this pack, this home, has shown me strength in unity. The white wolf isn't curse or weapon, she is guardian, and I'll guard you with every surge, every claw, every breath. Silence, then a lone howl. From Moira, swelling to a chorus. Torin stepped forward, head bowed. Forgive my weakness, Luna, your light's ours. Tears pricked, but pride swelled. Archer squeezed my hand. See, hearts led. The unity held through the week's frenzy. Supply runs to allied outposts, rune carvers etching protective sigils on shields. Serena and I plotting she-wolf tactics over late-night maps. Intimacy with Archer deepened too. Passionate nights where bodies spoke what words couldn't, forging us unbreakable. But on the 10th day, scouts returned bloodied. Shadow Claws had struck a forward camp, leaving no survivors but a message carved in flesh. Bait the pelt or the pack falls. Asterisk war's howl echoed closer. I stood on the battlements that eve, wind whipping my hair, Juniper's power coiling like a spring. Let them come, I whispered to the moon. We'll meet them with light. Archer joined me, his warmth a shield, together. The storm broke not with rain, but steel. Mist clung to the valleys like a shroud as our forces marched out at first light. The air thick with the scent of damp earth and oiled leather. 200 strong silver crests core, bolstered by Riverbend's river runners. We moved as one, a serpent of fur and steel winding through the passes. Archer led the vanguard. Dorian a black specter at the fore, his howls coordinating flanks with precision born of years commanding these mountains. Nico scouted the left, his gray form a ghost in the fog, while Serena and her she-wolves held the right, their spears glinting like fish scales. I rode in the center with Moira's rune, etched litter. Though road was generous, I paced beside it in human form, Juniper itching beneath my skin, eager for release. The weight of their trust pressed on me, heavier than any chain. Warriors who'd brawled over my worth now saluted as I passed. Children waving moonflower garlands from the rear guards. Guardian, they called me. The title a crown of thorns and hope. The message from the slaughtered camp burned in my mind. Fey the pelt, or the pack falls Fey. Victor's taunt, crude and primal. Shadowclaws weren't warriors. They were monsters, twisted by isolation and blood rites. Their pelts tattooed with curses that turned pain to rage. Garrett's alliance with them reeked of desperation. His ego demanding my subjugation even at the cost of unleashing such beasts. We reached the Narrows by noon. Wolves pass a bottleneck of sheer cliffs and tangled ravines, perfect for our ambush. Archer signaled halt, shifting back to issue orders in the mind link. Fake archers to the heights. Flankers conceal in the mists. Lila, center with the reserves. Unleash when they commit. Asterisk, his green eyes met mine across the formation. A flash of the bond's warmth cutting the chill. Baby safe. Asterisk, I sent back. The link thrumming with our shared resolve. The trap sprang as the enemy crested the rise. A snarling tide of black and gray, 200 at least. Moonlit banners fluttering amid the feral horde. Garrett's warriors formed the disciplined core, shields locked in phalanx. But the Shadowclaws frothed at the edges, red eyes mad with bloodlust. Fiona's wolves wove through, their red sashes like wounds in the gray. Horns blared, and chaos erupted. Arrows whistled from the cliffs, punching through shields in bloody blooms. Our flankers surged from the mists, spears thrusting like vipers. Dorian crashed into the vanguard, a whirlwind of fangs felling 3 in a blur. Nico's howls rallied the left, Serena's water shapes, Riverben's gift of fluid combat, turning the ravine floor slick and treacherous. I shifted as the line buckled, Juniper exploding forth in a blaze of white that cut the fog like dawn. The enemy faltered, howls turning to whimpers at the sight. Fey Moon Wolf. Asterisk. But Victor, a colossus of ebony fur with scars like lightning, bellowed defiance, charging straight for me. His claws raked the earth, each bound shaking the ground. Juniper danced aside, her smaller size an advantage in the tight pass, nipping at his haunches. He swung a massive paw, grazing her flank. Pain lanced through me, hot and sharp. But I countered with a surge, light arcing from my jaws like celestial fire. It struck his shoulder, sizzling fur and muscle, eliciting a roar that echoed off the stones. Around us, the battle raged. Archer tearing through Garrett's elites, his black form a shadow of death. Fiona locked in duel with Serena, their forms a blur of red and silver. A shadow claw leaped for Moira's litter, but Torin intercepted, his axe cleaving deep. Blood slicked the ground, mists turning pink. Victor lunged again, jaws aiming for my throat. Juniper rolled, kicking up dirt, and clamped onto his foreleg, crunching bone with a surge. Enhanced bite. He howled, rearing, but freed himself with a savage shake, sending me tumbling. Pain bloomed in my ribs, cracked perhaps. But Juniper rose snarling, golden eyes locked on his coals. Fano, asterisk Archer's voice in the link, laced with urgency, faith, power together. Asterisk, I felt it then, the bond amplifying, Dorian's strength funneling into me like a river to the sea. Juniper reared, and I unleashed, not a bolt, but a wave. Light cascaded from her form, a tidal surge of moonfire that swept the pass, searing shadow claws where they stood. Screams rent the air as fur ignited, the weak, willed crumbling to ash. Victor staggered, his tattoos flaring in defiance, but the wave clipped him, tearing his side. He fled then, tail low, his horde fracturing in his wake. Garrett's line wavered. Fiona's howl won a fury as she disengaged from Serena, vanishing into the retreat. We pursued to the pass's mouth, arrows herding the route, until Archer called halt, mercy for the broken, death for the defiant. The aftermath was a butcher's yard, bodies strewn, the wounded moaning under healers' hands. We lost 20 brave souls like young Kian, a gamma pup who'd shielded a fallen archer. Grief clawed at me as I shifted back, bandaging cuts with trembling fingers. Archer found me there, gore, streaked but unbowed, pulling me into an embrace that smelled of blood and pine. "You were magnificent," he murmured, lips against my hair. We held, but victory tasted bitter. Among the dead, a moonlit warrior clutched a locket. My parents' crest twisted into a taunt. Garrett knew my weaknesses, would strike harder next. As we limped back to camp, the mists lifting to reveal a bloodied sun, I vowed, "Fay no more running, this ends with him." The return to Silver Crest was triumphant, yet somber. Processions winding through cheering crowds tempered by black, draped litters for the fallen. Feasts honored the dead, songs weaving their names into legend. Moira led the rites under the moon, her chants calling Celine's grace to guide their spirits. In the quiet hours, Archer and I pored over captured maps, tracing Garrett's fallback to his fortified heartlands. "He'll lick wounds, regroup," Archer said, finger stabbing the parchment. "But Victor's pride is shattered, the claws may fracture." Serena joined us, her arm bandaged from Fiona's claws. River bends in for the long haul, but we need more diplomacy or dread. Dread came unbidden that week. Visions plagued my sleep, juniper whimpering of shadows coiling tighter. Awake, surges flickered uncontrolled, candles flaring to stubs, water boiling in cups. Moira diagnosed it as awakening, the power maturing amid stress. "Breathe with it," she coached in private sessions, guiding meditations where I visualized light as a river, not flood. The pack adapted too. Torin became my shadow, his doubt turned devotion. We sparred daily, his gruff humor a tonic. Nico organized youth drills, teaching pups basic shifts with Juniper as guest instructor, her playful pounces eliciting giggles that lightened the war's pall. Intimacy with Archer anchored the chaos. Stolen moments in the forests, bodies merging under dappled light, the bond a symphony of sensation. "I love you," he whispered post. Climax one eve, the words a vow etched in stars. Not the legend, the woman. Tears pricked. "And I you. But Garrett, he won't stop till I am broken. Then we'll break him first." The breaking began with a bold stroke, a raid on moonlit supply caravans, led by Nico and Serena. They returned with wagons of grain and silver, Garrett's rage echoing in intercepted missives. Faithy White Witch dies screaming. Asterisk countermeasures mounted, rune walls erected around borders, seers scrying for ambushes. But internal rot festered, a traitor outed when a patrol vanished. Their route leaked. Under truth serum, a disgruntled elder confessed, bribed by Fiona's spies, fearing the curse. Archer's judgment was swift. Exile, not death. Mercy's edge honed by Lila's influence. The pack watched, murmurs of face-offness quelled by my speech at assembly. Mercy isn't weakness. It is choice. We rise above beasts. Yet beasts came calling. Scouts spotted Victor's remnants allying with deeper shadows. Rumors of a rogue king from the abyss, drawn by pelt. Lust the war widened, tendrils reaching north. In the strategy room, maps sprawled like flayed skins. I traced a new line. We push to moonlit his heart. End Garrett before the abyss swallows us. Archer's eyes burned. Agreed, but you stay back. Number Juniper's growl echoed mine. I am the bait he craves, and the blade he'll fear. The council concurred, plans crystallizing. A feint north to draw Victor, main force south to moonlit gates. Alliances strained but held, Riverbend sending mages for illusion veils. As departure loomed, Archer and I stood on the battlements, moon full and fat. "Whatever comes," he said, ring, rune. Etched silver, immune to my touch, slipping on my finger. "You are my forever." I kissed him, fierce and deep. "And you are mine. Let's finish this." The march south began under blood moon's glow, drums beating like hearts. Claws waited in the mist, but so did light. The road to moonlit was a vein of vengeance, pulsing with the pack's collective heartbeat as we snaked through fog, choked forests and over frost-rimed ridges. 3 days out, and the air grew heavier, laced with the sour tang of enemy territory. Garrett's patrols had marked trees with urine and claw, rents, a beast's claim on land that would soon run red. Lila rode beside me in wolf form, Juniper's white pelt, a beacon amid the grays and browns, her golden eyes scanning horizons with a predator's patience. Dorian itched for blood, his massive frame tense under my skin. But I held the shift, conserving energy for the strike. The bond with Lila was a lifeline. Her surges now a shared pulse. When she tensed at a distant howl, electricity prickled my fur. When she relaxed by a stream, calm washed through me like cool water. It was power and peril. This intertwining, her pain would be mine, amplified. Nico loped ahead, his scouts fanning like whispers on the wind. Serena's Riverbend contingent brought river, craft to our arsenal, portable fords that turned streams to highways, illusion mists that cloaked our passage. Garrett's blind to subtlety. She'd quipped at camp that morn, her laugh a ripple over the fire's crackle. He'll charge like a bull into our web. Camps were austere, cold rations, watch rotations, tales spun to steel nerves. Around the fires, warriors shared histories, Torin recounting a youthful brawl won by luck, Moira chanting blessings that glowed faintly on blades, Lila shifting human for meals, wove stories of her parents' reign, sanitizing the abuse into lessons of resilience. The pack hung on her words, the White Witch now, White Warden, her light a talisman against the encroaching dark, but fractures spider-webbed beneath the surface. The traitor's exile had sown seeds of paranoia. Mind links buzzed with accusations, glances sharpened to knives. One night, as stars wheeled overhead, a gamma confronted me by the pickets. Alpha, the Luna's power, it is wild. What if it turns on us? Like the legends warn. I gripped his shoulder, Alpha tone brooking no dissent. It saves us. Question her, question me. He backed down, but the doubt lingered, a crack in the foundation. Lila felt it too, withdrawing slightly in the bond. Not distance, but armor. That eve in our tent pitched under ancient oaks, I drew her close, hands tracing the curve of her spine. "They're fools," I murmured, lips against her neck. "You bind us, not break." She arched into me, breath hitching as passion ignited. "Then remind them," she gasped, nails raking my back. Our union was fire, slow builds to crashing waves, the bond singing with release. Afterward, tangled in furs, she traced my chest scars. "These from rogues?" "I ate 8 years back. They took something precious," the words slipped out. Old wounds cracking. "My sister, lost to a raid when I was green. Her body never found." Rogues had been my bogeyman since, fueling the hatred that nearly cost me Lila in the dungeon. Her eyes softened, hand over my heart. "They took my parents too, blamed me." Shared grief bridged us, tears mingling on pillows. "We'll honor them by ending this." Dawn brought action. Nico's scouts pinned a moonlit foraging party, 20 strong, wagons laden with herbs and ore. We struck like thunder, Lila's surge cloaking our approach in blinding fog. Juniper led the charge, light lances felling guards before they drew steel. I claimed the lead warrior, his pleas cut short by Dorian's jaws. We torched the wagons, smoke a signal to Garrett. "We're coming." Asterisk, the raid yielded maps. Detailed, damning. Garrett's inner circle plotted betrayal. Fiona scheming to supplant him post. Victory, Victor demanding my head as tribute. "Divided they stand," Nico joked. But his eyes were grim. We sent gifts back, the lead warrior's head, wrapped in his own banner. Retaliation came swift. That night, as campfires dimmed, shadows stirred. Shadow claws, saboteurs, slipping past mists with cursed stealth. Alarms howled, and battle erupted in the dark, tents aflame. Wolves clashing in snarls and screams. I shifted, Dorian barreling through smoke to shield Lila as she unleashed waves that lit the night, vaporizing 3 ferals in ethereal blasts. But chaos claimed tolls. A claw pinned Torin, claws in his gut. Lila's light freed him, but he bled out in Moira's arms. Last words a gurgle of loyalty. Serena lost 2 sisters to Fiona's assassins, her rage a river in flood. We repelled them, but dawn revealed 20 dead, morale cracked further. In the healer's tent, Lila knelt by the wounded, her touch, now controlled, knitting flesh with glowing warmth. "It is the bond," she explained to Moira, who watched in wonder. "Archer's strength, my light." But exhaustion etched her face, surges draining her like bloodletting. The fractures deepened on the march's 4th day. A riverbend warrior, grieving his kin, accused Lila of calling the dark, her white form a beacon that drew the raid. Fists flew. Nico broke it up, but the seed sprouted. Whispers in ranks. Fakers, bringer. Asterisk, I called assembly at midday halt. The pack circled on a bluff overlooking Garrett's distant spires. "Doubt is the true enemy," I thundered, alpha power rippling. "Lila's light saved us tonight. Ask the survivors, she bleeds for you as I do. Stand united, or fall divided." Silence. Then Torin's brother, a burly smith named Gage, stepped forward, voice rough. "She saved my kin too. No more whispers." Murmurs shifted to nods. Serena's she, wolves raising spears in salute. Lila spoke then, voice clear as crystal. "I was divided once, self from pack, light from dark. It broke me. Don't let it break us." Juniper shifted briefly beside her, a white flame in daylight, eliciting odd howls. Unity patched but fragile, we pressed on, hitting another convoy. This one guarded by elites. The fight was brutal, Garrett's phalanx holding like iron, Fiona's wedge slicing deep. Lila and I fought back, to back, her surges sinking with my strikes, a duo of destruction. We captured a lieutenant. His confession gold, Garrett planned a parley, a trap to seize the white wolf. We turned it, ambushing the parley site. Disguised envoys drew them out. Our forces sprang, netting dozens. Garrett escaped. But Fiona fell, wounded, not dead. Her screams vowing vengeance as we chained her for interrogation. In the camp that night, victory soured by losses, 10 more gone. Lila confronted the captive. Fiona's blue eyes burned hatred from her palate, blonde hair matted with blood. "You think you've won, runt. Garrett's just the blade. The Shadow King wields him, your light. It'll blind you to the abyss." Lila's hand trembled on her dagger, old scars aching. "Why, I was nothing to you," Fiona laughed, bitter. "You were everything. The Luna he feared loving. Your specialness doomed you." A surge flickered. Lila's eyes goldening, but she sheathed the blade. Mercy again, the intel confirmed. The Shadow King, a mythic figure named Drake, lurked north, his legions the true tide. Victor was pawn, Garrett puppet. War's scope ballooned. As we bedded down, Lila curled against me, voice small. "What if she is right? My light draws monsters." I held her tighter. Then we burn brighter. Passion followed, desperate and deep, reaffirming life amid death. The fractures healed in fire's forge, but the abyss yawned. Drake's howls echoed in dreams, a call to greater battles. The revelation of Drake hung over the camp like a pall, turning victories to pyres. Fiona's words wormed deep, her chained form a specter in the wagons as we marched. Interrogated daily, yielding scraps, Drake, an ancient rogue lord, banished centuries ago for dark rites, now rising with Victor's aid. His abyss was literal. A chasm north of moonlit, said to house shadow. Wolves twisted by eclipse magic, immortal unless struck by moonlight. Juniper paced in my mind, golden eyes narrowed. Fahey is the void to our light. But light pierces voids. Asterisk, the pack pressed on. Morale shored by the parley ambush's spoils. Arms, mounts, a map etched with Drake's sigils. Archer strategized relentlessly, his green eyes shadowed by sleepless nights. Our bond strained under the weight. Surges now pulled at him too. Shared exhaustion, a double-edged sword. We hit moonlit as outer villages on the 6th day, ghosts of my past rising like mist. Huts I'd scrubbed as Omega stood empty, inhabitants fled or conscripted. One elder, Jocelyn, my grandmotherly cook, recognized me from afar, tears streaming as she pressed a satchel of bread into my hands. Knew you'd return strong, child. Moon protect you. Her blessing lingered as we liberated the holdouts. Omegas like me, beaten but unbroken. They joined our ranks, 30 souls with axes and fire in their bellies. For the true Luna, they chanted, erasing Garrett's stain. But Garrett struck back. That night, as thunder rolled, his elites raided our perimeter. Silent killers slipping through mists, daggers poisoned with wolfsbane. Alarms shattered sleep. I shifted mid-leap from the tent, Juniper's light illuminating assassins in stark relief. One lunged for Archer, my surge hurled him into thorns. But poison grazed his arm, burning like acid. Healers swarmed, Moira's antidotes pulling him from fever's edge, but delirium brought confessions. Visions of his sister's death. Rogue's red eyes mirroring Drake's. "Can't lose you," he rasped, gripping my hand as light knit his flesh. "You are my light." The raid cost 15, but we captured Garrett's second, a weasel-faced beta named Asher, my old tormentor. His eyes widened in recognition as chains bit. "Slut," he sneered, but fear undercut it. Interrogation was mine. In the tent's dim, Juniper's growl echoing, I loomed. "Remember the basement? Your slaps, gropes? Now you pay." He spilled. Garrett fortified the pack house. Fiona escaped to him, Drake's vanguard en route. Hundreds shadow cloaked. "He'll sacrifice the pack for your head, White Witch." I left him broken, Mercy's line blurred. Archer, recovered, pulled me close. "Justice, not vengeance. You are better." The push to Moonlit proper was a gauntlet. Ambushes in defiles, traps sprung on trails. We lost Serena's scout team to a rockslide, Garrett's earth, mages per Asher, but gained ground, outer walls crumbling under siege engines. At the gates, Garrett parleyed from the battlements, his form gaunt, eyes wild. Fiona beside him, bandaged but venomous. "Return, Lila. Your light's mine by right. Drake offers power, join or perish." Lila's laugh was cold. "Your right ended in rejection, surrender, or we take it all." He spat, gates slamming. Siege began. Catapults hurling rune. Bombs, archers trading volleys. Inside, howls of dissent. Omegas rising against him. Our infiltrators stoking revolt. Break came on day 3. Gates breached by ram and surge. My light shattering bars like glass. Street fights erupted, house to house fury. Juniper led the charge. Light webs ensnaring foes, Archer at my flank. We cornered Garrett in the great hall. Throne room of my parents' ghosts. He shifted, a mottled gray wolf, Fiona at his side in red furred form. "Traitor bitch!" he snarled, lunging. The duel was visceral. Garrett's brute strength against Juniper's agility. Fiona's cunning slashes met by my surges. Archer and Dorian harried, but Garrett landed blows. Claws raking my side, reopening old scars. Pain-fueled power. I unleashed a lance that pierced his shoulder, dropping him. Fiona fled, but Garrett rose snarling, eyes mad. "You are nothing, runt curse." "You are ended," I growled, light coiling. The killing surge struck true, his form crumpling. Bonds echo a final snap. Cheers echoed, but joy soured. Drake's shadows crested the horizon, abyss, born horde blotting the sun. We fortified Moonlit as base, liberated Omega's swelling ranks. Fiona recaptured, her tongue loosed in defeat. Drake's weakness, Eclipse heart, vulnerable to full moonlight. Archer claimed the alpha seat beside me, our union proclaimed in blood. "Oaths, joint rulers," he declared, ring glinting. Passion that night was triumph's fire, bodies celebrating life. But Drake marched, abyss awakening. Victor's remnants joined. red eyes merging with void. Black scouts reported thousands wars tide. In the war room, maps alive with pins. I trace the chasm. We meet him there, full moon rising, my light against his dark. Archer nodded, fear in his eyes masked by love. Together, the march north began. Moonlit banners flying with silver crests, fractured bonds mended in fire. Now Abyss called. The Abyss chasm yawned like a wound in the earth. A mile-wide gash fringed with twisted spires and fog that reeked of sulfur and decay. Full moon hung low, a silver coin on black velvet, its light our ally and harbinger. We'd marched 2 days from moonlit. Rank swelled to 400 silver crest. Riverbend, liberated moonlets, a rainbow of fur and steel facing the void's monochrome horde. Drake's forces camped in the depths, bonfires like hellmouths flickering, shadows writhing unnaturally. Victor prowled the rims, his ebony form scarred from our pass, red eyes scanning our approach with predatory glee. Fiona's intel proved gold. Drake's heart, a crystal pulsing with eclipse essence, powered his immortality, hidden in the chasm's core. Destroy it under moon's peak, and the shadows crumbled. Lila stood at the bluff's edge, wind whipping her cloak. Juniper's power humming visibly. Hair lifting, eyes gold, flecked. The bond thrummed with her resolve, but undercurrents of fear. Feywatt, if the light fails. Asterisk, I squeezed her hand, grounding us. It won't you or Celine's own. Nico flanked us, Serena at his side. Their budding spark a bright note amid grim. Scouts confirm 500 down there, but the shadows, they multiply like ink in water. Moira nodded, her staff topped with a moonstone that glowed in sync with Lila's aura. The crystal feeds them, shatter it, and the tide ebbs. Battle plan was audacious. Faint assault on the rims to draw Victor out. Main force repelling into the chasm via vine. Ropes Lila's light guiding to the core. Riverbend mages would veil us in water. Mist, moonlit omegas, fierce in their freedom. Holding the anchors. Dusk fell, moon climbing. Horns blared our challenge. Drake's response was a cacophony, howls, layered with shrieks, shadows boiling up like smoke. Victor charged first, his claw pack a black wave crashing the rims. We met them in frenzy, Dorian ripping through flanks, Nico's agility turning dodges to kills. Lila unleashed preliminary surges, light nets tangling dozens, their forms dissolving in screams. Victor locked with me, his bulk against Dorian's speed, claws glancing off rune, shields, fangs seeking throat. The pelt's mine, he bellowed, but pain from old wounds slowed him. Lila intervened, her lance searing his hide. He fled into shadows, horde fracturing. Into the pit, I roared, ropes dropping. Warriors slid down sheer walls, mists cloaking descent. The chasm floor was a labyrinth of obsidian spikes and steaming vents, shadows coiling like serpents. Drake's guards, void, wraiths, semi-corporeal horrors, ambushed from cracks, phasing through armor to chill flesh. Lila's light repelled them, beams carving paths, but they drained her, each blast. A gasp bond echoing fatigue. Keep pushing, I urged, Dorian guarding her as we navigated tunnels etched with runes that whispered madness. Deeper. The core chamber. A cavern vast as cathedrals, crystal heart throbbing black-purple. Drake enthroned before it. A skeletal wolf. Man hybrid, eyes voids, crown of bones. Moonwhelp, he rasped. Voice echoes in minds. Your light feeds my dark. His shadows surged, tendrils lashing. Warriors fell, screams swallowed. Serena's mists held, but wraiths pierced, felling her mages. Lila advanced, surges building to crescendo. Light warring with dark in explosive clashes, cavern shaking. Drake lunged, claws phasing through defenses. He struck Lila's shadow. Venom burning, she screamed. Bond lancing me with agony, Dorian tackled him. Fangs sinking into ethereal flesh, but Drake reformed, laughing. Fano, *Lila mind-linked, rising defiant. Moon peaked overhead, its light funneling through cracks, a beam of pure silver. She channeled it, body arching as power peaked, a supernova of white. Juniper's form expanding, golden eyes blazing. The surge hit like creation's dawn, crystal shattering in harmonic crack, shadows evaporating in howls of dissolution. Drake solidified, vulnerable, my blade through his heart, Lila's light consuming the remnants. Silence fell, broken by cheers echoing up. We ascended, battered but whole. Victor's remnants scattered, abyss sealed. Back on rims, victory feasts under moon, toasts to fallen, songs of light's tide. Serena and Nico pledged eternal alliance, Moira crowning Lila with moonflowers. But in quiet, Lila collapsed, power's toll, body racked. Healers tended, but recovery loomed long. Archer held vigil, bond mending us. We did it, she whispered. And more awaits, peace to build. End.